This league table is completely wrong, except every number is one out from its actual value. So let's make a new league table and start working on it. I decided to start by focusing on A. We know that that 1 is not correct, so they either played 0 or 2 games. They can't have played 0 games because they definitely scored some goals. So they must have played 2 games. Now each of these is 1 out, so that means they must have won 1 and drawn 1 because they couldn't have won -1 or anything. And that means they've actually played their 2 games, so they must have lost 0. And I don't know about the goals for or goals against at the moment, so we'll just leave that blank. Let's move on to B and C. Now it says they play each other once a year, so there's no way they could have played 3 games. At most, they could have played 2 games. So therefore, it must be, because they're 1 out, that B played 1 game and C played 1 game, which tells us that A played against both of them, and actually that's it. Which means because A didn't, well, that must mean that neither of them won a game. And then because A drew one of them, and A must have drawn with C, because that one's 1 out, and this is then 0. And C lost 1, but no, they actually didn't, so they lost 0. And B lost 0, but that was 1 out, so they must have actually have lost 1. So I've managed to fill in the table for played, won, drawn, and lost. Now we're nearly there. For C to have drawn the game, they must have scored the same number of goals as they let in. So it must be that they actually scored 2 instead of 3, so 1 less, and they let in 1 more than it says here, so 2 as well. And then because B lost, well, at the moment it says they scored 2 and they let 2 in, but because they lost, they must have let more in than they scored. So I'm going to subtract 1 from what it says they scored and add 1 to what it says they let in. And then it's quite easy to deduce the ones for A, because if B and C let in 5 between them, then A must have scored 5 in total, because remember, they are playing B and C. And then because B and C scored 3 between them, then A must have let in 3. And this all checks out. Everything in our new table is 1 different from the original table. This is our final answer. Well done.